This is my path, my journey. I'm willing to explain it all to you guys. No holding back anything. I just hope you're ready for the experience, and I just hope you can handle it. So I just made a video earlier about sacraments, and yeah, I want to basically touch on sacraments because motherwort has definitely become one of my sacraments, you know, and it's like, it's part of the Chinese medicines. Here's my idea on this. So, yes, motherwort is part of the Chinese medicines, but when they were using it for the Chinese medicines, their intention, you know, was not as a spiritual plant. You know, when they were using it, it's called motherwort because it was used, you know, primarily for mothers. There's a molecule in it that, you know, can help, I think, with contractions, can basically start contractions. So it's not good for a woman that is pregnant, but it's good for a woman, like, if she's, like, 3 days before, you know, going into labor, you know, you can... But primarily, motherwort was looked at as a herb for women, you know, and yes, it does have a very, very feminine energy to it. The energy to it is very feminine. I feel like, you know, the experience is very feminine. But at the same time, you know, I think it's like a Mother Earth thing, a connection to Mother Earth. And the fact that it's motherwort, you know, it already has like this history being used for mothers. So, you know, it kind of has this motherly thing to it. You know, plants are very interesting, you know, because... Yeah, I think plants have personalities, and you know I think the personalities are, you know, based on their effects, their characteristics, their, you know, the things that make them unique and different from one another, you know, and the things that make them similar. Because, you know, cannabis, wild daga, motherwort, blue vervain, you know, they're all mints. They're all in the mint family, and you know, I feel like they all, you know, they all have very different effects, but they all have I guess, stoning effect. You know, they all kind of get you stoned a little bit in their own way. And, you know, it just kind of shows their characteristics, and it shows their personality and what type of personality they have. And I'm really, you know, I don't know, I've just really gotten into motherwort, you know, and mixing motherwort with kratom. And for me, it's like, I'm very into synergy. I don't know what it is. You know, a lot of people say, you know, work with this one plant medicine, then work with this plant medicine, then work with this plant medicine. But it's like, kind of like with ayahuasca, you know, ayahuasca takes 2 plants no matter what. You know, like there is ayahuasca brews that have like 3, 4, 5 plants in it. But the main thing that makes it ayahuasca would be, you know, the DMT and the MAOI. A lot of times I feel the same way with synergy because I feel like plant synergy is so unique. Usually mixing mints with a mint, you know, is good as long as the 2 mints aren't, you know, almost identical, you know, because then they might clash. But it's just with synergy, you gotta know what you're doing. Just know that these things used to be called plant medicines for a reason. You know, just know that these things can be very powerful. I feel like people just think that, you know, they're plant medicines, you know, they're herbs, you know, they can't really work that well, you know, it's fine, you know. I think they look at them like that instead of like, you know, a lot of times it's the way that they're brewed, it's the way that you're taking the plant. Sometimes, you know, as long as the plant's edible, you know, sometimes, you know, if it's not working enough in a tea, sometimes you got to break the plant up in powder and then ingest it in with the tea. You know, sometimes you got to do what you got to do to get your effects, you know. Some plants like Salvia divinorum, for example. Salvia divinorum, you know, you can make a tea with it and it's not going to be that, I guess, that booming to you. You might get a little calming from it, but nothing too major. It's only when you chew on the leaves is when you actually get the boom effect. Now, I'm probably going to do the same thing with wild daga and clip daga. With, you know, clip daga leaves next year, I'm going to basically get enough clip daga leaves to chew on and to start, you know, chewing on them to, you know, see if I can get some more of the effect. Because I talk a lot about wild daga and motherwort, and that's because, like I said earlier, you know, these really have become my sacraments. That's not just something I'm saying. These aren't just things I'm doing. Like, this is literally my life. This is literally how I look at my life, how I approach my life, how I live my life, how I take these plants. It's always based on intention, because, the intention with motherwort wasn't used as a spiritual plant. Now that I'm using motherwort as a spiritual plant to connect with Mother Earth and to connect with the mother and to get a different perspective on life, because it does, it's not like a full-blown psychedelic. That's why I said I'm gonna, try chewing on the leaves, and I want to try to see if I can get any more out of it, basically. But even just the way it is right now, I took about 6 grams. It was 5 grams motherwort and 1 gram of my Klipdagger plant behind me that, is completely leafless because of the winter. I'm hoping that it grows back next year. But by just brewing that the right way, with the top on, checking on it, don't let it stay on a boil too long. Let it hit a boil, but don't let it stay on a boil, and let it hit there. Let it hit a boil like 4 or 5 times, and I brewed it for like probably an hour and a half, 2 hours, and I just have to make sure I try to get as much out of the leaf as possible. I want to get everything I can possibly out of the leaf. And by the end of it, usually my, water or my tea or herbal infusion is, very dark, and usually it's, very bitter. But I've gotten so used to these things and so used to the taste of these things that it's like they're really not even that bitter to me anymore. It's really nothing. It's really nothing. I can chew on bitter plants and eat bitter plants all day long if I had to. I do anyways. Well, it's not like I take these things all day long, but it's just, I do take bitter plants a lot more often than most people. I think that's a good thing, though, because I think we need to have more bitters in our life. We live in a world where there's a lot of bitter people. It's because they eat a lot of sweet things to coat their bitterness. If they would just take bitter plants, it can maybe fix them and balance it. I think this is all about balance. I don't think it's about getting rid of the ego completely, or I don't think it's about, being completely nice all the time, or being completely happy all the time, and being negative none of the time. And no, I think it's always about the balance, and I think that we live in a completely unbalanced society that really does need these plants. Like right now, more than ever, we need these plants. And I think it's amazing that plants are making a comeback. I think it's amazing that psychedelics are making a comeback. I think it's amazing that consciousness is making a comeback. Because, it's 2018 now. 2018. That's so crazy. It's January 2018. And it's like, this is going to be a really good year, but it's like these plants have helped me evolve enough to get to this point, to this year, to be able to do the things I'm going to this year, and to have this certain type of mindset that I need. These plants are my teachers, and they teach me a lot. And, I don't know. I've learned so much from these plants. It's to the point where I don't even know where I'd be at in life without them, and it's like, it's mainly because I don't use these things for the same reason. I don't use these things to escape my problems. I don't like to escape my problems. I like to face my problems head on, to get them shits dealt with, so I don't have to deal with them, so I can just move on and continue on with my path. But when there's roadblocks in the way, when there's obstacles in the way, sometimes you just gotta deal with the shit. Don't try to avoid it and go around. Deal with the shit. Maybe fix the problem, or help fix the problem. I just think with the right intentions, these plants can be used to view reality, your life, and view yourself in a different way, from a different perspective. And we need that different perspective, because if all we have is our one perspective in life, then, it's the same. It's one of those old sayings that it's like, your best friend knows you better than you do. It's because the you that you know is the you try to put out, but it's like it's not the same you that everyone else sees. So it's like I just feel like it's good to get a different perspective on yourself, with these different states of consciousnesses. And it's just very, to me it's very spiritual. To me it's very connecting. To me it's what humans were meant to do. But I'm gonna get back to just feeling the experience. Maybe play some music, and yeah, probably smoke a little bit. But thank you guys so much for watching, and I will catch you guys another time. Peace.